Let's just take the Tour out of the equation, Spencer. I mean, with no matter where Remco is, as long as Tadej and Jonas race the Tour, he's not going to win. So it's as simple as that.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. After a long sabbatical, we are back with our weekly show. Johan and I just got back from vacation. We're going to run through a few major transfers, including Remco Evenepoel to Red Bull, the big one, and then a few smaller ones like Dylan Groenewegen to Unibet Tietema Rockets, what that means for the team, how Soudal-QuickStep is going to rebuild, and what the heck is going on with Ineos. But Johan, before we get started, where have you been? How was your vacation? Did you take some time after the tour?
It was short because I'm actually tomorrow leaving for the second part of my vacation to Belgium for a long period of time. Almost 3 weeks. But yeah, we were in the area of Calpe, Benissa, Denia. I was actually in Pedreguer in the I wanted to check out that hotel where a lot of high performance athletes are staying. It's called Synchrosfera, where we've seen Remco Evenepoel and sometimes the majority of the team of Alpecin, Mathieu van der Poel, staying. They're very famous to have. I would say probably half of the hotel is they have altitude rooms. So basically, I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's owned by Alexander Kolobnev, who I met, and he gave me a tour at silver medalist, in the worlds. In the worlds. A few times, a few medals in Worlds and Olympics. But so yeah, it was pretty impressive actually. I can understand now why certain teams go there. It's very nice, and I also had the opportunity to ride my bike with Matthew White. He lives in the area, so we rode for a week together, which was very nice. Our sons race against each other, so they went training every day together, and then the dads went on a coffee ride every day, which
on
was
the
nice.
Faster ride, the superior ride of the two. I'm sure. We are not sponsored by that hotel, but I do want to check that hotel out. It looks amazing.
It's very nice.
I'm jealous you
very
went.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, to get back at it, we're back in the business. You also ran into, it's interesting. Like, it's just weird to me to think these guys have lives outside of the tour, but like Van der Poel and Philipsen, I don't know what I thought they were doing, but then they're at the hotel training, and then and now they're racing again, and then they kind of have to ramp up for their second goals after the tour.
Yeah, Philipsen. When I first got there, Philipsen, I saw him at breakfast, so I talked to him a little bit, and he was staying there for I think 1 or 2 days only. Then he moved to another place, and he told me that he was starting again, so he's preparing for the Vuelta since he crashed out very early in the Tour de France. He's going to do the Vuelta. So, and then I saw that he just started in the Tour of Denmark, which is, I guess it's to get back into the rhythm. Then 2 or 3 days later, they were sitting there on the terrace, and Mathieu van der Poel was there also. They seemed to come to the hotel to use the facilities to do short training sessions at altitude. The hotel is, they have rooms, but they also have a gym, and part of the gym is adapted so you can basically program the altitude that you want. I think you can go up till 3,500 meters. So that seems to be something that they're doing right now, and I'm pretty sure it's common in. I didn't know that, but it's pretty common in modern cycling.
That's pretty interesting. Where I live, I'm high. I'm the opposite of that. And like back in the day, I had a coach that would like hook you up to like oxygen, basically, so you could do training at sea level while living high. Mm-hmm. That's interesting to hear they're doing it the opposite way, like because that goes against live high, train low, and like they're living low and then training at altitude. I'd be curious the science behind that and like why exactly they're doing it. But that's sweet. The hotel, you can just set whatever altitude you want. That's quite nice.
Yeah, I'm going to Belgium now tomorrow, and there's actually I'm going to go check it out. There's a new hotel very close to where I live actually, it's actually, I mean, there's teams that have rented it out already for long periods of time. It's the whole hotel also, and they have even a cinema room at altitude. So, I mean, I guess it's a profitable business.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready and willing to go. if they pay for us, we'll do some live shows from there. It's a win-win. But Johan, to get back to business, the big news is, and I did the only thing on my vacation I felt like was passing me by was this Remco Evenepoel to Red Bull news. We knew it was going to happen during the tour. It's still like popped quite a bit. It was big news because, I mean, he has a year left on his deal with Soudal-QuickStep. Presumably he's being bought out by RedBull-Bora-Hansgrohe to go over to be their Tour de France leader, Spring Classics leader. Like, I guess my questions for you are, how do you think this went down? Why did Soudal-QuickStep sell? What type of money did this take? And then what is Red Bull, like what would define success for Red Bull with this transfer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, it was no secret that Remco wanted to leave Soudal, right? And if I put myself in the position of Soudal, I would say, okay, let's try to make this a profitable business. You don't want to have a rider who's there against his will or who's not happy. He's not going to perform 100%. It's also not good for the atmosphere of the whole team. I don't think you should ever keep a rider against his will because he has a contract, especially a rider of that kind of contract, right? Because it's a huge, I mean, it's a big chunk in the budget. Red Bull, I mean, obviously, if you look at all the riders that are right now at the top, you have Pogačar, who's not going anywhere. You have Jonas, who's not going anywhere. And then after those two, it's, you have a pool of riders, and Remco's one of those. Let's not forget, he abandoned this year's tour, but let's not forget, he was third in the tour last year. He won the Vuelta. He's multiple world champion on the road, time trial, double Olympic champion. Liège-Bastogne-Liège, did he win it twice? I guess he won Liège-Bastogne-Liège twice, 3 times San Sebastian. I mean, he won a bunch of races. There's not that many riders of that kind of caliber that are or could be on the market. Remco was not on the market, but he kind of was because he wanted to leave. So it all depends the amount of effort and the amount of money it has cost to Red Bull. I personally think it's not a bad move. Definitely a good move for Remco, that's for sure. Because if he wants to go up a level, I think he needed to find a team where, I mean, not saying that he didn't have this at his disposal at Soudal, because I think they accommodated 95% of the wishes of Remco. But I think the initiative came from Remco. He said, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then the team accommodated that for him. Altitude training, performance staff, especially in wind tunnels, this and that. This is going to be different now for Remco. It's the team who's going to propose it to him. He's not going to have to think about anything, because at Red Bull, they do have the infrastructure and the manpower and the resources. Whereas I think, I mean, it's just an assumption that at Soudal, all of these extras is a huge effort, especially budget-wise. So I think he's coming into an environment where people are going to think for him, and they're going to propose things to him, whereas he had to propose to the team in the past. I think that's going to be the main change difference for Remco. Now for Red Bull, if you really want to, I mean, you have to look to the future also. You need to keep strengthening your team. When you get a big champion on board, I mean, I want to insist, that we don't have to judge Remco now based on the abandon of the tour. Let's not forget everything he has done already. If you look at his palmares, there's not that many riders riding in the peloton right now with that kind of pedigree. And if you bring a rider like that, it ups the game of the rest. Guys who are the leaders. It's kind of a little wake-up call. I said, "Shit, I need to be ready here, because in healthy competition, healthy inside competition, right? And then, they have, let's say the two big riders right now, it's Roglic and Lipowitz, because he just got third at the Tour, but this is recent, so it still needs to be confirmed. And if you see that Roglic is at the end of this career, he's not going to race that many more years. I think it's kind of a transfer that makes sense for Red Bull.
And for Soudal-QuickStep, they would let him go because they get paid a buyout fee and they don't have to pay him next year. Is that the benefit?
If roughly, these are just estimates, right? So first of all, I would assume that Remco's contract, globally, with bonuses and everything included, probably around 4 million. So that's 4 million you don't have to pay next year. And then a buyout, whatever it is, they've negotiated. So normally, if you look at the Belgian legislation, you can leave as a Belgian employee from a Belgian company. You can leave if you pay your contract. It depends how big the basic contract is. I would assume bonuses are not part of that rule within the Belgian law. So I think the buyout's probably somewhere between 2 and 3 million, if I have to guess. So let's say it's a 6 or 7 million euro bonus operation for Soudal, which is considerable. It's a big co-sponsor.
Yeah, and then I guess in theory you rebuilt the team that maybe is probably not trying to win the Tour de France, like maybe more one day ambitions. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Plus there's riders on that team. I guess, if I'm not mistaken, is it, what's the Italian guy's name? He also abandoned in the Tour after crashing out. Cattaneo is going with him. I think that's the only rider I've seen so far. Then a DS and a mechanic and a soigneur. I think that's the package. And so it also opens new opportunities for riders at Soudal-QuickStep when a big leader like that goes. And it looks to me like they want to rebuild towards their core identity of a classics team, because they've signed Dylan van Baarle and Jasper Stuyven for 2026. So that obviously is focusing more on the classics again.
Yeah, we can talk later about can those guys really challenge the big classics? But you have to imagine even, you can imagine one of them winning Omloop and Kern or both. And is that successful for them? But let's talk about Red Bull for a second. So now Red Bull gets Remco. Big deal, right? And I kind of like it from a one-day perspective. Like now they have someone who could very realistically podium Liège, at least one spring monument. I still think Remco could be a good Flanders rider. I just, maybe I'm crazy with that, but at least Amstel, Liège, the Ardennes, you now have a contender. For stage races, does this totally make sense? They got third at the Tour this year. Are they realistically going to improve on that with Remco?
Well, let's just take the Tour out of the equation, Spencer. With no matter where Remco is, as long as Tadej and Jonas race the Tour, he's not going to win. So it's as simple as that. Okay, if Tadej doesn't race and Jonas is the heavy favorite, then things could change because it changes the whole dynamics of the race. But still, he's not ever been close to Jonas. Last year, when Jonas was not 100%, he's never been able to follow Jonas, I think, on uphill finishes. So I think we need to leave the Tour out of the equation. And it's not just the Tour. There's other races, and there's a lot of 1 week races, which Remco is specialist.
Okay. That's what I thought too. And then I went back and looked it up. Do you know how many top 7 1 week races he's won in his career? It's 0.
None. Yeah. None.
So it's he's a 1 week specialist, but struggles to win 1 week races. And actually is unclear to me why, because he's a great time trialist. That's usually the foundation for a 1 week win. So it's inconsistency.
Well, I don't think we need to question that, Spencer. Listen, somebody who has won the Tour of Spain and third in the Tour can win any 1 week race. I think I don't know why.
Why is it not happening?
Yeah. Well, let's see if he's with Red Bull, it can change.
I guess that would be the bet Red Bull's making, that we can rock up to Paris-Nice, win Paris-Nice, we can win Dauphiné, Romandy, Basque Country, and we're cruising. And we can't with the current. I guess where does this leave Roglic? Because he's a pretty good racer too, pretty good 1 week racer, Grand Tour. Are they just on totally different timelines or?
I think they're going to be on different programs. I mean, they're both ambitious guys, and even Primoz, I don't know if next year is going to be his last year. If he's still going to go on, we don't know. I think it's the last year of his contract, but maybe he wants to keep going. So we'll see. There's plenty of room on the calendar for both of them, or for him and Roglic and Lipowitz. In certain races, it's I don't think Remco and Primoz would probably race a lot together, but I mean, Lipowitz and Primoz can race together, or Lipowitz and Remco can race together. And then let's not forget, they still have a guy like Jay Hindley, who's also a Grand Tour winner and Grand Tour podium in other Tour of Italy. So, we'll see. We'll see. But I think it's the right move, in my opinion. It's the right move. I think for Remco, there were talks about him also going to Ineos. I don't know how much Specialized has played a role in his decision, but I think it's a new start for him, and it's the environment he needed.
I mean, I think he had to stay with Specialized. I mean, just like my son, I dropped him off at school this morning, and in the bike parking lot, there was a Specialized, and he goes, "It's Remco's bike." So it's like, it's breaking through. The kids are loving Remco on Specialized. And Lipowitz, I guess my only concern is Lipowitz, and I will move on from this, that my concern about signing one of the best riders in the sport. I went through, so his first 2 years, if you count like his first year as the first year as a pro, he did a stage race or a Grand Tour. So 2024. So 2024, 2025, potentially one of the best starts to a GC career we've ever seen. Like 7th at the Vuelta, his first Grand Tour finish, 3rd at the Tour de France. I would say almost even more impressed than that is his 1 week racing. Like he breaks out 3rd at Romandy in 2024. 2nd at Paris-Nice in 2025. That's usually the year you kind of struggle to repeat your breakout season. 4th at Basque Country, 3rd at the Dauphiné. Like that's pretty good consistency. And the only thing I would hate to see is like he gets shuffled out of the Tour team, and then he's like,
no. There's no way. No, I mean, I don't think so. But I think for a guy like Lipowitz, it's probably also not bad to have somebody else there. I mean, it's not like Red Bull. I mean, with Lipowitz and even with Remco, if we're talking about the Tour, other stage races is different. If you talk about Giro and Vuelta, those guys would be favorites, right? But if you're not the favorite, and as long as Tadej and Jonas keep doing the Tour de France, none of the other teams, including Red Bull, will be the favorite. So that also means that you don't have to have a team that is dedicated to one rider, because you never have to carry the weight of the race at any point. So you can have two leaders. That's not a problem. It's up to the leader. I mean, if you have two guys with each of one, and then it's up to them to follow the best guys, right? Whenever it's man against man. So I don't see it as a bad thing. On the contrary, I think it takes pressure off Lipowitz, which I think he needs, because we know how German media is. Now Lipowitz is the next Jan Ulrich, I would say, for the German media, and that's a heavy weight to carry. So to take the pressure off Florian Lipowitz, I think the arrival of Remco is an advantage.
And at the same time, then Primoz is chasing wins at the Giro and Vuelta, presumably, you think?
I think so. I think that's what he should do.
I think so too. Yeah.
And that's probably also what he wants to do. I mean, he's already accepted the fact that there's nothing to do against those two guys. And whenever Primoz is at the Giro or and the Vuelta, he's healthy, he's difficult to beat. Or he was. I mean, let's not forget, he's getting every year, he's getting a year older.
Yeah. Yeah. You do wonder though, like, man, if he's healthy at that Giro this year, he probably wins it. There's still a lane.
We will never know.
We'll never know. That's the beauty of being a Primoz fan. You can say, well, he would have won. He would have won the Tour this year. Had he not crashed at the Giro, it was just off. But before we go to break, just my last question for you. For the suits in Salzburg at Red Bull, like what makes them feel good about this? Because this is pretty big. It's pretty expensive, pretty big move they're making. Like, what do you think they want from this?
Well, obviously they want results. But also, I think, one of the things that you need to have in mind is as a team, if you get the only rider that was basically possible to get at this point of that kind of quality was Remco. If you have a leader, a strong, and we know that Remco is, he has results, but he's also a strong leader personality wise. It also attracts other riders. If you have a strong leader, it makes the team more attractive for other riders, and I think that's what they are also chasing. That Red Bull is one of the teams where riders actually want to go, and if a rider like Remco wants to go there, I think that says quite a bit about the structure and the organization.
He's also a huge, huge star with people under the age of 30. Like I was talking to our old producer Colton about it, and like everyone under 30, it's like Remco's their favorite rider. I don't fully get it, but it's good for the Red Bull brand. Probably like he's a Red Bull type of rider.
Yeah.
So
and he's a personality. He's also very. He doesn't leave anybody indifferent off the bike. Yeah, which is important. I think
There's someone I think that's very good that we both feel that leaves us indifferent. I don't want to call him out by saying his name.
I'm going to say it. You're thinking about Jonas.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't get excited about it.
I mean, listen, that's for a brand. It's not only about results. I mean, Jonas is obviously a great bike rider, but other than that, it's the interviews are very, very gray. I would say they're not very exciting and kind of always the same thing. It goes with the personality. That's how Jonas is. You can't change that. You can't fake that one way or another. But yeah, I mean, something obviously that you have to take into account if you're a team and you hire a star rider is it's not just the results on the bike, but it's also the personality of the bike. And Remco is an interesting personality for any sponsor.
Yeah. Very. I'm often thinking about Remco Evenepoel in a way I'm not thinking about Jonas Vingegaard. And also, I guess if you're GM of Red Bull, the team, you go to Red Bull corporate and they say, we're the best not mixed drinks. We're the best like energy drink company in the world. We want the best cyclist. Who's the best cyclist? You say Tadej Pogačar. He's not available. Okay, who's second best? You're like, Jonas, and he's not going anywhere. It's like, all right, so who's third? It's like, well, who are you going to get? Like Remco's kind of the obvious choice. So yeah, they might not have had a choice really. Like you just pick him because he's the best rider that's available.
Yeah, I would say even like image wise, and I'm a huge Primoz fan, but image wise, Remco runs circles around Primoz in terms of the image for a brand.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, even Primoz is pretty interesting. I think he's pretty interesting, but he is a very low key type of humor he has. That's not maybe the crowd favorite. But let's take a quick break. When we get back, I want to ask you about Dylan Groenewegen going to a YouTube team, or what used to be a YouTube team. Hey everyone, this episode is brought to you by Cook Unity. Eating healthy is crucial for your energy and health. We all know that, but it doesn't have to be boring. That's what I love about Cook Unity, who delivers to your door, never frozen, fresh meals that are ready within minutes. And they have incredible fresh flavors for every diet, including keto and gluten-free, and crafted by award-winning chefs using local seasonal ingredients, high in protein, fiber, and healthy fats. I've been using Cook Unity meals for almost a year now, and they have changed my life, especially when my wife is out of town and I'm responsible for cooking, cleaning, getting the kids to and from school, all on top of my newsletter and this podcast. It can be a lot. The diet could suffer perhaps. But with Cook Unity, I have meals ready to go that are healthy for everyone within minutes. I might even have a medical addiction to the Mission Burrito from Chef Jose Garces, but I'm still able to stick to my goals, keep my blood sugar stable, and avoid mindless snacking because I actually look forward to meals now. So if you're ready to crush your health goals with delicious chef-crafted meals, go to cookunity.com/themove or use code THEMOVE at checkout for 50% off your first week. That's half off. Go check it out now. cookunity.com/themove. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. Wouldn't you like to look a little bit younger, everyone? Well, I know I would. And get a few more compliments on your skin, or just feel more confident when you look in the mirror, or when you're watching yourself on a YouTube broadcast podcast. That is exactly what Caldera Lab is here for. Their high-performance skincare is designed specifically for men, simple, effective, and backed by science. In a consumer study, 100% of men said their skin looked smoother and healthier, and 97% noticed better hydration and texture. 94% reported a more youthful appearance. This isn't hype. Caldera Lab spends years developing and testing each formula with top cosmetic chemists, and if they don't love it, they don't release it. There are a few of their powerhouse products that I personally enjoy. The eye serum, they reduce the look of tired eyes, which for me, waking up early to watch a lot of these races, like I will for the Vuelta coming up here in a week, is huge. I don't look like a ghoul when I go pick up the kids from school. And the base layer, the nutrient-rich moisturizer with plant stem cells and snow mushroom extract, offers deep hydration, fast absorption, and no greasy shine. It's great for your face. Also, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say it. Great for your legs after you shave your legs. If you're a cyclist, I highly recommend the base layer. Throw that on. You'll feel fantastic. Skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/themove and use code THEMOVE at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's calderalab.com/themove. You get that link in the show notes if you didn't write it down. calderalab.com/themove for 20% off. All right, Johan, we are back. Dylan Groenewegen going to the Unibet Tietema Rockets for... Can we say the sum? Should we not say the sum?
Well, I mean, we don't know, but I knew at Jayco he was making more than $1 million. It's probably not going to be the same, but it's not going to be far off €1 million. I think it's a big amount for a rider who hasn't won that much lately. But just it's still there, the possibility is still there. Groenewegen is always a sprinter. I had forgotten about this, but during this tour, I got reminded that last year he actually won a stage at the tour.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, when do you think the last time he won a tour stage was? Not that long.
He won a stage at the tour last year. So, and plus he's Dutch. So yeah, I think it's an interesting move. Just for people that don't know, the Tietema Rockets, it's a team that is founded by a guy named Bas Tietema, correct? Bas Tietema, ex-professional rider. He was on BMC. Then he started the YouTube channel, and that's actually how he started the team with two of his friends. It's quite impressive, Spencer. I mean, if you think about it, initially when they started, I said, what are these guys thinking, right? But man, it's become, they in their first year already, last year was their first year, I think. They were already up there. This year they are everywhere. In many races they are in front. They have great results. They've become, from a Dutch team, they've become a French team, and I think that's with a purpose. Yeah, because their goal is to get in the Tour. I think they're still quite a bit off, but yeah, hats off to these guys to have set up what they've, it came out of nowhere, and in year two they're already a force to be counted with.
I love the idea of just changing your affiliation to France. Like, that's a genius idea, because it probably does increase your chances of getting invited to the Tour quite a bit.
Well, I think it's going to start with being invited to some ASO races in France. For Paris-Nice, Paris-Roubaix, I don't know, any other races that they have.
And with Groenewegen, they can win. They're not just there like filling out the numbers. Like, they could win a Paris-Nice stage.
Mm-hmm.
My big question is, I kind of understand the team. I love the idea. Like, they have very catchy jerseys. Everything they do is, the design is amazing. The story is good. They're kind of funding the team through the YouTube channel. I guess they have a few sponsors, like their bike sponsor probably kicks in. Unibet kicks in. Mm-hmm. But how can they afford this? Like €1 million a year?
I don't know. Must come from somewhere. I mean, I don't know who pays for it. They're changing bike sponsor, by the way. They're on Cannondale now. They're not going to be on Cannondale next year. They're changing to a German brand, Rose Bikes, ROSE. I think it's like an internet brand. They're not bad. I mean, they're okay. They're fine bikes.
And you would think that a direct to consumer brand like that, that's unknown, probably paying quite a bit of money, because that's the only way they have to get people to know about their bikes.
Probably.
Yeah. Just other odds and ends that we didn't really get to talk about during the tour. Intermarché Wanty merging with Lotto for next year. This is official, I guess. Like, the documents have been filed with the UCI, and then the big star in that, Biniam Girmay, unclear, or in your words, clear that he's not coming back to the team, the combined team.
Yeah, well, what I know about this is that nobody saw this coming, and the news got out during the tour. I know that riders and staff they knew this through the media during the Tour de France. So that's not great. If there's a merger, obviously there's going to be people who cannot stay, right? Riders and staff. And so I don't know the ins and outs. From what I could gather, the team remains under the control of Lotto, the national lottery. The bikes will remain Orbea. Intermarché will probably come in as a co-sponsor. I don't know what the level of sponsoring will be, and that the CEO will be a new CEO, and it will be the actual CEO of the team Intermarché. His name is Jean-François Bourlard. So obviously, other people will have to move there. It's never great. Listen, a merger is never great. A merger, I don't know if you can call this a merger. I think it's an acquisition. Because if Lotto remains in control company-wise, so the paying agent remains Lotto, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a really great thing. From what I did understand was that Intermarché or the company of Bourlard had some issues. Biniam Girmay is not going to stay unless something changes. But I've heard that the bonuses of last year's Tour de France, green jersey, stage wins, have not been paid. It's bonuses is always a risky thing. I mean, if you have a budget and then you sign a rider and all of a sudden a rider outperforms, I mean, nobody would have thought that Biniam Girmay would have won 3 stages in the Tour and the green jersey. And, if you sign that contract and Girmay has a great agent, Alex Carrera. And so it's easy to say, okay, so much for a stage win, so much bonus for the green jersey. And then as a manager, he's never going to do that until he does. And then, And so I'm absolutely not a fan of this merger. It can leave a lot of people without a job, riders and staff. And I don't think it's the best combination either.
Well, sounds like to me,
Girmay is not going to stay. I mean, and a rider like Girmay has obviously offers. Plus that, the riders of Intermarché who still have a contract are free to leave because the paying agent changes. Now, if they don't want to leave, then I think they have a problem because there's too many riders. There's going to be too many riders. I mean, I did this when we merged Radio Shack and Leopard. And when we put the two teams together, we had 42 riders with a contract. So we had to find a solution for 12 of those riders. And the only solution was to pay out their contracts. So we paid out the contract and they went to other teams or retired. That's not a great situation,
No.
and
probably
and
too
with,
much staff too, I would assume.
And with the
right?
staff, it's the same. So yeah, I don't think it's a great thing.
I'm just looking at it now. They have 38 riders under contract.
Okay,
the two
so
teams for next year.
8 of those. Does Girmay still have a contract?
Girmay he does. So he's not included. So 37.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the guys who there's probably, I mean, for Girmay, it's not bad because he can leave for a bigger contract somewhere else. Even after having won the green jersey, because I think he signed a multi-year deal before the green jersey. And he, that was kind of, made up with his bonuses. But if you don't get the bonuses, then yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's some good riders on this that's going to be left out. If I was running a team that had room on my roster, I would be looking to scoop some of these guys up. Mm-hmm. There are some good riders on both these teams. What it sounds like to me, or just reading between the lines, I mean, I think you hit it. It's not really a merger. It's Lotto needed a second sponsor. Lotto couldn't find a second sponsor. Intermarché, Wanty, probably in quite a bit of financial trouble, overextended themselves, was going to fold. This is like just Lotto being creative, thinking, oh, well, you can just kind of acquire this team and then we get their sponsors. And now we have our second sponsor. We have other.
Yeah, well,
it's
not going to be enough. I don't think it's a great move, Spencer.
What do you think their combined budget will be? Like, what's the Lotto budget next year now?
I think Lotto's now 15 million or something. They were looking for a co-sponsor. Even with the merger, I don't think it will exceed 20 million.
Oh, man. So they'll get Intermarché staying, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever other brand Intermarché owns.
Yeah. But you don't get their bike sponsor. You can only have one bike sponsor.
Yeah.
So that's already baked into the 15 million. And then so it's whatever Intermarché is paying for title sponsorship, maybe a few other minor ones. Yeah. I guess that kind of makes sense. Still pretty low budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where does Biniam go, you think?
Astana, probably.
Oh, man. Well, that's interesting. Wow. Well, you don't really, if you're Biniam Girmay, you don't really want to go somewhere with the GC leader.
Yeah.
Because that hurts your ability to go for green, hunt stages. So maybe Astana does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Astana. We'll talk about that. In the
XDS.
But
sorry.
XDS, yeah. But that is quite the turnaround. We need to talk about that later. And then obviously we'll talk about this later in the show. These two teams coming together leaves a now free spot for basically now the 19th place team in the combined aggregate 3-year rolling rankings for World Tour points, UCI points, is now included in the World Tour because 2 World Tour teams are merging. So an extra team will get a World Tour spot. Johan, before we talk about that, though, we have got to talk about some transfers, some interesting things going on. Ineos had some riders lined up, like Kevin Vauclain to bring on. Sounds like he's still coming, but the word we're receiving is Dave Brailsford has sat down, looked at the contracts and said, what the heck's going on? I don't want some of these riders. Some of these riders are too expensive. We're not going to pay them that. And it's kind of putting a freeze on the hirings that they thought they had made. What exactly is this? And how does this work? If Sam Welsford signed a deal, or did he sign an intent to sign a deal? And then that can be I think Filippo Zana is the one that
Zana
was going to get paid a lot of money. And then Ineos said, maybe not. And then now he has to beg Jayco to take him back. But how does that deal get canceled if it's already been signed?
Well, I mean, I'm going to guess it's not signed. It's probably just a letter of intent. And, it's the same, you don't want to go where you're not wanted or invited, you never go to a party if you're not invited.
You're not going to call them out to be I'm coming, whether you want me to.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all depends what has been signed. It probably gives Zana and his agent some leverage to say, okay, we'll not insist, but hey, we need at least a compensation, right? That's always a possibility. And so I don't know. I mean, I think what Brailsford is doing is probably waiting to see how the market is and trying to see if there's one star rider, same like Remco, I mean, there was rumors that he was going to go to Ineos. Remco didn't work out. Maybe there's somebody else who they can try to get from another team. Somebody who wants to leave the team. I don't know. I mean, just to name one rider. I mean, for example, Juan Ayuso. Probably I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but if Juan Ayuso looks at his future and Pogacar's there, I mean, he's not going to have any chance at the Tour, and he's probably not going to race the Tour or any other races where Pogacar races. So then you have to ask yourself, well, do I really want to stay here? Do I want to move? Is there room to negotiate? I mean, it never hurts to talk. And Brailsford is pretty good at that, at negotiating. So I think he just wants to keep the options open until he's sure he cannot get another big name. And then there's still time to, reopen the agreement of Filippo Zana. I mean, Zana, he's a good rider, but it's not like there's teams lining up to sign him,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a mistake. Someone like Zana, he is so talented.
Yeah.
And you're like, how often do talents like that? It's like Kevin Vauquelin, like big talent. Like to me, a rider like that you can nurture is the edge in modern cycling. Like you have to have someone with the ceiling that's there, or else they're just not going to be good enough. Zana does have that ceiling. I think it's a mistake, but man, who is available at this point? Off the top of my head, the only people I can think of would be Juan, and these people aren't even really available.
Yeah.
Juan Ayuso, Joao Almeida, Primoz Roglic. Like, what other rider would be big enough for them to take a swing at?
I mean, Primoz,
yeah, that would be the most Ineos thing to do, though. You sign like a 36-year-old Primoz Roglic for a ton of money, and then he's still
going to win races. He's still going to win races. I'm not sure if Red Bull would really be hard in negotiating the exit of Primoz. I mean, I would keep him. He's a valuable rider. He's he's one of the greatest of the last decade.
Yeah. I guess there's also Oscar Onley would be the other one that maybe
he still on.
He still has a contract. But
okay, well, listen. I mean, that's not a bad one because let's not forget, that team is not shy of trading in riders with their riders.
Cut a deal. Yeah. So they're very smart at selling riders at the top of their value.
Yeah.
It's kind of how they fund the team. So maybe that's what's cooking here. But this is not the first time it's happened. This happened 2 years ago where Brailsford was not really involved with the team. Rod Ellingworth made deals. Brailsford comes in and says, "What the heck have you done?" And then pulled deals off the table. Like that's why it took Tobias Foss so long to come on board, because then they had to renegotiate the deal.
Carlos Verona had a deal. Then finally he didn't get the deal and went to Trek
and won a Giro stage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. David Brailsford perhaps knows what he's doing.
Well, I think what Brailsford has been doing, he's been taking stock of what the situation was during the Tour. And then, finally said, okay, we need to do this. Let's just wait. I mean, budget-wise, I think they're going to be fine. Obviously, it's not going to increase because whatever comes extra will probably be, recuperated by Ratcliffe. But they have Total Energies on board now. It's still unclear to me how it's possible to have two teams. It's Ineos Total Energies, and then you have Total Energies, the French team, who will next year still have a team.
I guess like an equipment sponsor would be the obvious counter to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's equipment sponsors is different, but they're not in the name.
Does Trek doesn't have another World Tour team, right?
No.
Yeah, it would be like if Little Trek then was racing against like Trek Segafredo, and those were two separate teams.
Trek could potentially also sponsor another team with bikes, but they would not be in the name.
No, it's really strange to be. It's actually F1 kind of has a situation like this, but So it is like, so if you're doubting Dave Brailsford, like maybe I am, but
I think he knows what he's doing.
But look at, it's actually interesting. So they won 6 World Tour races throughout the first part of the year. in the last 3 weeks alone, they've won 4. So they are turning things around, like at least from a wins perspective. And they have riders like Ben Turner. How long has that guy been good and not winning big races? And then he suddenly wins a race at Tour Poland. Or Victor Langolotti, who I was confused about that signing. Guy wins a World Tour race.
Yeah, that
Tour
was impressive,
Poland.
that stage win.
Yeah, it was. And the reason I think the winning is important, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think the problem with Ineos partly is it's like very, very good riders, but like no finishers. And then you kind of get in a malaise where no one ever wins, but they're pretty good. But if you don't have like that tip of the spear, I feel like the mentality of a team is just, it's not like the winning mentality. I know it sounds like stupid and basic, but if you just have like, if someone is crossing the finish line first, I think that does kind of kick the team into gear. And, you know, maybe that is like what they're turning into, or they have like Ben Turner winning. And then it would be interesting if they could get Oscar Onley as a GC rider. That's not, and maybe even Juan Ayuso. Maybe Brailsford has big things cooking, and that's why these are being paused.
He's definitely thinking of something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be going for Juan Ayuso. I'm actually quite excited for this Vuelta. We'll talk about it next week, but this is a big Vuelta for Juan Ayuso and also for Joao Almeida. But before we go to our next ad break, another team that I'm a little confused by, Decathlon AG2R, soon to be, I guess, Decathlon. Who's the sponsor coming on next year? It's like some luxury brand, but they're making a lot of noise.
L'Oreal at some point.
L'Oreal, yeah.
I don't think it's L'Oreal. I think it's something else. I'm not sure.
Making a lot of noise about being the next super team of the sport. They're sending out a lot of good riders. Who are they bringing in to be their, like, and who's left to bring in at this stage of the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, they signed Olaf Kooi. They've signed Tish Benoot. They have signed, I don't remember who else they have signed. They've signed someone else. So, I mean, the Benoot and Kooi are obviously two good riders coming from Visma. But it's clear that Decathlon wants a change. They want to completely get away from the pure French identity. They want to be international. I've heard, for example, that all the meetings, it's an obligation now, all the meetings are in English.
Interesting. And I heard that's why they they hired Luke Rowe.
Luke Rowe, then they have this other Australian, they have another Australian DS, forgot his name now. Luke Roberts, is he there? Luke Roberts?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. It's a different philosophy. So Decathlon is pushing big, both with the team, with a lot of other sports. For example, over here, obviously, football is big. There's a very famous French football player, Griezmann. André Griezmann is a famous football player, and he plays with Decathlon gear, which would have been unthinkable a few years ago. So it's clear that Decathlon is pushing really, really hard to be a big player in elite sports. And I can see them. I can see them definitely be one of the top teams in the next few years.
Interesting. I mean, I guess they have, in their mind, they have the star inside the house already with Paul Seixas. Yeah. I was riding in France last week, and I was shocked at the amount of just on the road, like left over from the Dauphiné, how much Paul Seixas like paraphernalia there was. Like, talk about a star in the making. And also, if you think you can ride as fast as the pros, just as a little reference point here, I did the Côte du Domancy, which it's been featured a few times recently. The time trial in the 2023 Tour where Vingegaard won. The Dauphiné this year where Pogačar just destroyed everybody. It probably will feature in the 2027 World Championships.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Pogačar did it in about 6 minutes, 6:14. So you think, what am I going to be? 8 minutes? Something like that. I'm like 14 minutes. So over twice as slow. But here's like the sobering thing to give you an idea of the power these guys are putting out and the lethal combination of weight and power, I would have to do something like 750 watts to go the same speed for 6 minutes.
I don't think you can do that, Spencer.
I probably can't do that. So I'm going to have to lose some weight or get stronger. But, Pogacar is light. He's not that light, though. He's like, what, 63, 64 kilos?
It's still light. It's light. It's light.
Yeah. He's putting out a lot of power on those efforts, like a lot. It's actually really crazy when you do that and you realize the power a normal sized person would have to do to be as fast as them. But let's take one more ad break, and then let's talk about this relegation. The relegation battle shifted because there's an extra spot now, but it is actually quite interesting. Everyone, this episode is brought to you by Manukora Honey. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? Well, look no further, because Manukora is right in front of you. And I walked out this morning. This one's near and dear in my heart, because I walked out. I had 3 brand new jars of Manukora shipped to me from the farm in New Zealand where it's harvested. I throw this honey into everything: tea, breakfast bowls, protein shakes, even right off the spoon, which I do right when I come down to watch these pre-Vuelta races. And I'm feeling better than ever, not getting sick, which I'm shocked by due to my recent travel. But what really sets Manukora apart is what's inside. It's packed with powerful nutrients that support immunity and gut health, probably why I'm not getting sick. Thanks to the bioactive rich nectar the bees collect from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand, it even contains a unique antibacterial compound called MGO, and every harvest is third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting. Going off book here a little bit, it's just a great company. Comes in a great package. You feel good for buying it. It's a good product made by good people, sent in a good package. I can't give it a bigger endorsement than that. And if you want to try it, you're in luck, because it's easier than ever to try Manukora honey. Head to manukora.com/themove to save to save 31% plus $25 with the free gifts with the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's manukora.com/themove to save 31% plus $25 with the free gifts today. Get the link in the show notes if you didn't write it down. All right, back to the show. So, Johan, we are back. The relegation battle, we thought, I do have to make an apology to Astana. I think I said on this show, like just a few months ago, it was not possible for them to be.
I thought the same at the beginning of the season. I definitely thought the same, that was not going to be possible. Man, they're in like, it's not even close. Safety. Yeah. They're just in cruising, not even thinking about it. A team that probably thought they were safe. I mean, I don't know how much we want to get into these. It can start to get abstract at a certain point, but the last team in, assuming Intermarché and Lotto are merging, is Cofidis. They have over the last 3 years, they have 23,923 points. Behind them is Uno X, 23,470 points, which is really impressive when you consider how few points Uno X was scoring the last 2 years. Like this year, they have crushed it. Like they're 11th overall with almost 8,000 points. Cofidis has been terrible, 20th overall with 5,500 points, essentially. But really what this means is there's a delta now of 453 points. Uno X is winning like a lot. Like they won yesterday at the Tour of Denmark. They probably have more wins. What this probably could come down to is the Tour of Guangxi. I don't even know if Uno X is invited to that, but it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But if they win like 2 or 3 more races, they could overtake Cofidis. And Cofidis, the problem is they're not scoring at all. Like they were nowhere at the Tour. They've been nowhere since the Tour ended. Like they could now, a team that I thought was safe, they probably thought they were safe, could realistically get relegated. Yeah, obviously they were not great on the transfer market either. They signed a lot of expensive riders for, I mean, I've heard a few, I mean, if the information I got is true, it's crazy. Some riders went there like it's their retirement fund, but I mean, 450 points, man. I mean, Uno X is pretty good at also winning one-day races, and there's a bunch still to come of those races. A lot, like the whole Italian campaign. Yeah, I would not. I mean, if I'm Cofidis, I would not feel safe at all. I mean, listen, Uno X, I think they're World Tour ready. They are definitely a great team, great sponsor with a big potential. It's going to be interesting to follow that battle. Where is Tudor, by the way, in this battle? The second part of this, actually,
is quite interesting. So Tudor is not going to make it because they haven't been a team long enough. They are in 23rd in the aggregate rankings, quite a bit of way down. But where this gets interesting is, the top 3 pro teams, I guess the second division teams qualify for all the races.
Yeah.
Right now, the top one is Uno X. So this would be for next year. These are all invited to every race, essentially. Mm-hmm. Uno X, Tudor is Israel's second, but they will be World Tour. So they're out. Tudor then is effectively the second team. So they're now going to be invited to everything. And Q36.5 is third. So I think I even said on the show a few months ago, I was like, I don't get why Tom Pidcock's going there because they're not going to go to
be
races.
in all the big races. Yeah.
And the big losers.
But where does that put Cofidis then if they're out?
Cofidis is.
So if Uno X makes it, where does it put Cofidis?
Okay, no, this is more complex than I thought because now Cofidis is right above Q36.5. So now these two teams, not only is Cofidis battling Uno X, they're battling Q36.5 because if they get relegated, they're no longer the third team.
Who?
Because then Q30. Well, right now they would be, but if they don't perform and Q36.5 does well.
And what's the difference between Q36.5 and Cofidis?
It's kind of a lot. It's 700 points currently, but this takes us into our last topic of the day, Johan. Tom Pidcock not doing the World Mountain Bike Championships because he's going to the Volta a España to chase the top 10. I saw this news. I thought, this doesn't make any sense. Why do they care about that? But do you know what the top 10 at the Volta comes with? A lot of points.
How many?
So, well, here, let's just look at it's a lot. Like that could be enough right there to make up the delta. Let's just look at
that's also assuming that Cofidis wouldn't be in the top 10 in the Vuelta, which they probably won't be.
Probably is a safe assumption to make, actually. Like, let's just say David Gaudu last year scores 415 UCI points for 6th place at the Vuelta.
Okay.
And then Pidcock, I'd assume they're imagining he could win at least the stage, if not more, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that's why? I mean, obviously,
it really doesn't matter, Spencer, because it does matter. It does matter if Uno X, but if Uno X makes it to the World Tour, then Cofidis and Tudor and Q36.5 are in anyway, right?
It would be
if Uno X makes it, then it's still the 3 teams. It would still be Cofidis and Tudor
and Cofidis. Even if they were somehow overtaken and not third, they would still get invited to the tour, right? Wild card French team. Yeah. So it still would be a big blow for them. But yeah, you're right. They would still be the 3rd pro team. So it kind of doesn't matter at all, but it's more like a security after next year. Yeah. I guess, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of interesting though, to think about it. I'm just more shocked at Cofidis's like fall. Like they've obviously struggled in years past, but this is like, they are really struggling. And then it kind of makes sense when you talk about the contracts you're hearing and the type of riders they're targeting.
I'll tell you one of the contracts offline. It's crazy.
Is this, I mean, the relegation system gets criticized a lot, but in my mind, like one thing that it could be good to maybe de-incentivize is a team like Cofidis that just sits comfortably in this spot and then doesn't make really smart sporting decisions to get better. And then it's kind of blocking teams like the Tietema Rockets from rising up because they're just chewing up a spot, even if they're not, I don't want to say taking it seriously, but they're just comfortable where they are. They are not like striving for more. So I do kind of wonder sometimes if it holds back more ambitious cutting edge teams. So I guess that would be the reason for.
Well, I think also one of the reasons why Pidcock goes to the Vuelta is, in my opinion, it's also a requirement for the invitation. ASO, the Vuelta ASO invited Q36.5 to the race, but it was dependent on Pidcock being present. Same went with the Giro, by the way. They were at the Giro. Pidcock was at the Giro.
Does he win world championships mountain bike if he shows up? Probably, right?
I mean, it depends on the course. If it's a lot of climbing, there's not many people who can beat him. If it's a lot of climbing, not even Mathieu beats him, I think, in mountain biking. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, he's not going to go now, and Van der Poel will go. So Van der Poel will try to be world champion mountain bike. That's the one that he's missing.
Has Tom Pidcock won a world championship mountain bike?
Yeah. He won in Scotland.
Wait,
2 years ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
You're right. 2023. So there's kind of nothing left for him. He has 2 Olympic championships, world championships, European championships, 8 World Cups. It's like, well,
he just won the European championships, by the way, this year.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Van der Poel wins this mountain bike world championships?
Where is it?
That would have been a good question. A good thing to look up before I did the show.
Yeah. Listen, I think he does. I think he does because, I mean, it's just, the difference in engines is just amazing. If he doesn't win, it's because he's going to have some kind of mishap, which, has been proven to be the case, whenever he has raced now lately. He's had some issues technically, but now he has more time to prepare. And
it's in Valais, Switzerland, but I don't know what the course is.
It's obviously going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, these courses they're all really hard.
So I'm not sure, but anyway, listen, Van der Poel with the Tour de France. I mean, in the Tour he was climbing amazingly also for his qualities. He takes that form into the rest of the season,
This is true. I mean, just the engine level. It happens during the Vuelta, which is kind of disappointing, but I'm quite excited for that World Championships actually. But anything else you want to say, Johan, before we get going?
I think we've covered mostly everything. We haven't talked about any races that have been going on, but I think
we'll do our in-depth deep dive of stage 3 of the time trial at the Tour of Denmark next week on Monday. Each pacing strategy for each rider. But the racing's actually been pretty good. Now, I don't want to make it sound like I'm laughing at the racing. I've been
impressed with Corbin Strong, by the way. Corbin Strong, yes. He won the race in Belgium there, then in Wallonia, and he just won the Arctic race. I mean, that was an amazing performance. He was the only guy to be able to follow Pidcock on the hardest climb.
Yep.
And then defended it really well on the last stage. So that guy's on some really good form, Corbin Strong.
Yeah, really good rider. I mean, that was such a hard finish to stay with Pidcock. Like, I'm sure Pidcock was expecting to win the overall.
Yeah.
You'd imagine. Yeah. So to beat a rider of that caliber in a GC, not easy at all. How old is Corbin Strong? 25 years old. A lot of good riders on that team, actually.
Yeah.
That is real. All right, Johan. Well, have a good week, and we'll be back next week to preview the Vuelta a España.
Okay.
Actually, it's going to be quite a good battle, quite an interesting race, but we will talk later.
Okay. Thanks, Spencer.
Bye.